All right, welcome everyone. I'm excited to be here tonight and talk to you a little bit about staying in square one. So real quick, my name is Megan Blinka. I am a 5-star, 2-time elite diamond coach, and I have been coaching now for 3.5 years. And I gotta say, anytime I get in one of those slumps of our up and down business, I come back to square one because that is what got me started. And that is what I believe is, the foundation. And I know a lot of the stuff you'll hear with vital behaviors, it's stuff you've heard, but I just want to share how I've implemented it and how I have used it to not only grow my team, but continuously stay on top of what's changing and what's going on to always bring new ideas and keep it fun and interesting along the way. So wanted to really break it down into two parts because staying in square one comes from a challenger aspect, and I believe you have to stay in square one as our coaching business as well. So I'm going to start by talking about it from a challenger angle. And these are the main things I want to talk about, and I'll break into each of them as we go through. But one thing is to always have updated results to share. And I remember, I want to say it was Christina Delgado who said, I always try to have at least an updated before and after picture every 6 months. And I know that, if you came into this business because you were a challenger first before a coach, you might be a little bit more passionate about those pictures, or they might mean a little bit something more to you. But I think that sometimes when people come in from, just the business aspect of things, maybe you don't quite see the value in those pictures as much. And I can tell you that the pictures and doing programs start to finish and being that forever challenger is a huge thing that's been helpful to me. And, going into just staying excited, because if you're not loving what you're doing, it's going to show through what you're doing, through what you're posting, how you're talking about it to other people virtually and as well as in person. And I want to encourage you guys to remain rooted to what got you here in the first place, but also willing to change, because in our business with social media, there's always something new, always things changing, new ideas thrown around, and you've got to, set your priorities, know what you're trying to get to and what you want to do, but you also have to step outside and try new things and be willing to make those changes. So I went ahead and pulled out a few of my favorites. These are just a variety of pictures that I have posted, and this is such a small amount of them. There was a part of me that wanted to just cover the whole thing and smother them in all the before and afters, but I have about like 12 to 15 sets of program before and afters, not to mention countless 3-day refresh before and after pictures. And I share these all the time. Yes, everybody knows be proof the product works. That's a vital behavior. It's something that we should all be doing. But are you sharing them? Because I like to share my challengers and shout my challengers out. And I like to share coaches on my team who have had amazing transformations, and I'm able to share them and shout them out. But I'll be honest, above anything else, I share my own physical transformation all the time. And I know sometimes people will be like, well, I don't really have one. Do a 3-day refresh, get 3-day results. And most of these pictures, my weight has been roughly the same. So like the very first picture in the top left, that was the first time I ever did a before and after that I was reluctant to share, that my coach shared for me, but it ripped the Band-Aid off from the start. And sharing these pictures is something I have always done, because I ask my challengers to take their pictures when they get started. So you best believe that I'm going to take my pictures before I get started, and I'm going to share those every step along the way. And this is something I've done from the beginning. And I know that so often it's, it is nerve-wracking. Like I'm half naked in all of these pictures and I'm throwing them out on Facebook. But this is if people know you more than they know anybody else. You don't want to use those stock photos. They're great to share stories. Like I said, I will share other challengers and other coaches on my team's testimonials because it's helpful to them and it shows and really helps other people relate to someone who maybe can't relate to me. But I have not had any sort of drastic. In fact, if you go from the beginning to where I am now, I'm about 10 pounds up. So it's not like I've had like this amazing transformation to share, but it's me. It's my ups and downs, because you know what? I can complete a program and stick to a nutrition plan, and I can fall off track just as fast. And by showing people love to see you fail. I know it sounds silly, but they do. So people want to hear that you've done really well, and then maybe you had a bad weekend. That's when you did a 3-day refresh, or you fell off track, and that's when you did this. But by continuously showing this, I feel like it just helps people realize that you're practicing what you're preaching. So if you haven't done this yet, put this on your to-do list, because sharing your own transformation is something that for a lot of us, I imagine, was something that helps you get started in this business. And it's something that you can't just do when you launch, that you're a new coach, or when you launch, a new challenge group. It's something that you should be doing all the time. And with the staying excited, I know that I have found myself in ruts where I am posting from a script. If you guys use scripts in your challenge group, where you're literally just copying and posting every day, and like there's no passion behind it. Maybe it's like a check the box. I got to make sure I post in this group, this group, and this group. And you just do it and you throw it out there, and you're tired of running the same groups, and you're tired of running a group where nobody participates. I'll be honest, my Shift Shop launch group was great. People were excited. They did really well with it. So I'm like, okay, I should run an encore group because people loved it. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to catch all those people who didn't jump in the first time, and they're going to jump in this time. It's been going 2 weeks, and I might get a post every other day from a challenger. I think there's like 12 people in there. Some groups flop, some work, some do, some don't. You've got to just keep going. And I am going to continue to post in that day and go live in that group and share videos and share recipes as often as I can. Because while those people, for whatever reason, have not worked out, I know that other times it will. And that's going to happen. But you can't let that bring you down. If your challengers aren't participating, then you know what I did? I created a new group. So I started 2 groups this month. One was that Shift Shop group, and then another one that did prep week last week, started day 1 today. And you know what? They're excited and they're posting. So it's not necessarily you, but I will tell you, I used the Shift Shop script when I did the launch, and it worked out great. I used it for my encore group. It's awful. For this new group I started, I've been flying by the seat of my pants every day. I actually should say every day, every Sunday. I'm sitting down and game planning my posts for the week, but I'm not using a script. I'm really just going by what's going on. What are these people telling me they're struggling with, and basing it off that. So just, keep it going and keep it fun. Make sure you have a place that you can take your lifers. So if I have people who have been with me forever, for years plus. So I can't follow scripts with those people, but I don't want to just throw them in a group and say, okay, keep yourself accountable. So I'm constantly looking for new ways to keep that group engaged. And I've done an alphabet script where I go from A to Z, where A is accountability, B is body image, and C is confidence. And I channel my posts all around the alphabet, and I just switch things up because you have to keep them interested. And if you're not having fun with it, then it's going to seem like a chore to you, and they're going to be like, this is a waste of my time. And playing games, I want to show you guys, this is something I had done, this little 30-day fitness challenge. I did not make this whole thing up. Another little tip, when you see things that work for other people, implement them, make them work for you. But I did recreate the image. And this little game that we did in my challenge group was huge because it was one of those groups that we finished our 21 days together, 30 days together, and they were really doing well. So I'm like, okay, let's keep this going. And I ran this for a month. But if you look through it, some of them are so specific. Like one of them, if you look at, day 14, share what Shakeology has done for you. Very Beachbody related. But then other ones, what's your hobbies besides fitness? What is your fitness story? When I did this little game, this, challenge for the month with my challenge group, my regular challengers, it sparked so many friendships and so many conversations and uncovered so many things that you would have never known from people. So step outside. This was something that I did not, if you're one that posts every day in a challenge group, like every morning you have the script that you're using or you're posting. I didn't do that. For this group, all I did is I followed along with this. Day 1, fitness story, and I told my story. How many people joined me at some point over the years and had no idea how I got started, because apparently they didn't see it, like not everyone sees your social media posts. So it was such a great way for me to connect to my challengers and just something different. So, can take a snapshot of this. I'll share this in the Dream Team page, but this was something different that I did because my group was dying down. And if your challengers aren't having fun with it, then you're not going to be having fun either, and nobody's going to get results, and that's not going to do anything for your business. So I wanted to show you guys that. That's what I meant here by playing games. And you can do all sorts of other things with playing games. You can have challenges of the day. You can have fun fitness Fridays where you encourage them to do other things. Think about what it was when you were a challenger that got you to say, okay, I don't want to just be a challenger anymore, and I want to coach. I think about that all the time. I try to reflect and think, okay, what was it that I came running out of my workouts, so excited to talk to my husband and be like, I want to do what she's doing. I think of those things because that's the coach that you want to be. And if it was an awesome challenge group or killer results, that's what you need to be doing, helping people talking about, so that then your people that you're bringing in and participating in your challenge group, they want to do that too, because you're giving them the same experience that you got. So if you're ever sitting there and you find yourself in this rut, like, okay, like what's going on? Why isn't this working? Just try to think about that. Like how is your group going? And is it the group that you would have been, excited to participate in whenever it was that you got started? And is it something that you're giving that experience to other people? And be that girl. I think of the book, Be That Girl, or guy, for the guys who are on here, but I feel like that plays a huge role. And then remain rooted, but fear not change. And I was actually at the bus stop during the first week of school, and I was talking to one of my neighbors about how I don't like change. And I'm not someone who likes change. I don't rearrange my bedroom. I don't rearrange furniture. Like I just, if I can keep things constant, I do. And she replied back to me. She said, the only thing constant in life is change. And I've heard that before, don't get me wrong, but it has stuck with me. And I keep thinking that to myself. The only thing constant in life is change. And we have to realize that with our business and just life in general, things are evolving and you have to change with them to stay on top of the game. I know that I did 21-day groups for the longest time, 4-week groups, where I ran my preseason group, I ran 3-week groups, and I started every group the third Monday of the month, and it was so routine. And I got so bored with talking about the same 21-day groups and I just got bored with it. So I changed things up in the spring, and I ran a spring into fitness group that ran for 90 days, and it worked really great. And I wanted to do the same for summer, but you know what happened when summer started? Everyone was on like really tight deadlines. I want to do this for vacation, and I want to do this before the, whatever it is, before the kids get off school, before the kids go back. And everyone was so short-minded. So what worked in the spring with the 90-day group didn't work for me in the summer, but I'm going to try it again in the fall. So like think about those things as well. Like think about the season that you're in and change things up. 21-day group, 30-day group, 60-day group. If you're following something like Quarter Force that ran 60 days, or no, that didn't, that was 30. That example, max 30 was 60 days. But, trying to think about how you can do things differently and know that it's not a one size fits all thing. And like I talked about with my Shift Shop group that rocked and then my Encore group that flopped, those are going to happen. And I had a new coach that was in my Encore group, and I sent her a message. I'm like, hey, just so you know, this group that I added you in to check out as you're just getting started, like it's a really bad group. I'll be honest with you. I said, but they're not all that bad. So I added her into a group that was really thriving. And I was like, this is what I like my groups to look like. And she was like, you know what? Thank you for showing me that, so that if I have a group that fails, I know that that's going to happen. And that's been the way since I first started coaching. I can tell you my very first challenge group was awesome. My second one sucked. My third one was awesome. My fourth one sucked. Like it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I'm giving my all in all of these. And it's one of those things like you can give the information to the same people and they're going to react different ways. So just be willing to change what you're doing. And if it's working great, like, can it be better? And that's something else. When I first did my 90-day group, it was something that I got from another coach who shared, she talked to my team call because our challenge groups were rocking. And that's something I'm constantly doing, is talking not just to our incredible team, but cross-teaming it and going to other people and being like, you're killing it. What are you doing? And I ask all the time. And I had this girl speak on my team call, and she was really rocking her challenge groups. And that's when she talked about 90 days and how beneficial it was to have these people in a 90-day group, because it was really helping with the heart rate Shakeology retention. I'm like, okay, like, sounds good. I'm going to give it a whirl. So just, know that you're going to hear things that people are doing. You don't have to do them all, but when something like sounds really good that you want to try it. And like I said, it worked for me really well. And I did it in the spring. And then when I tried to like twist it and start a new group for summer for 90 days, it just wasn't happening, where I just started fresh, 30-day groups through the summer. So think about that if you're with your groups, if you can change something up or tweak it a little bit to where it's a little bit different. Maybe, changing up will be more exciting for you. Yes, it creates more work for you, but this isn't supposed to be a monotonous thing where you're just copy pasting from the same thing and bringing people in the same way, because different things are going to work differently. And I found that some people really did awesome with that 90-day group, and then a lot of people really did awesome with the short groups in the summer. And think about how your lifers and VIPs continue. Like I shared, I have an ongoing group for my my lifer customers that have been with me forever, that I do switch up and I do the different things, like the game that I shared. I do things where you can kind of promote a challenger or a coach of the day or coach of the week. When you see someone that's really rocking your challenge group, ask them, say, would you be interested in taking a post? And you can either do like a poll. I love Facebook polls because it's so easy for people to click their response to it. But do a poll in your challenge group and be like, hey, maybe you're going to go on vacation, and say, you guys are really rocking this group. Would anybody like to share what they've, share maybe some tips they've learned to be a coach for the day? And have a sign up or have them comment below and see who steps up. It's just another way to really see, for one, obviously that's going to grant you some coach potentials. But I think it's also going to help you, keep that group fun and interesting. And I think that there's so often things that I shared forever and ever when I did follow a script, that now that I haven't followed scripts for so long, that I kind of forget some things. Like there's some basic stuff. I'm like, oh, I haven't shared this with them yet. And by getting other people's input, like as a coach of the week, it really helps get a different perspective and can really help bring like the camaraderie of the group together. Something I really like to do. And then just making sure you're keeping them engaged. Do everything you can. Know that some people will not post in a group. I just got results today from a girl who's never posted in the group. She's in that Flop Encore group. And she finished 3 weeks of Shift Shop, and she got like really good results. Not once did the girl comment on anything. But if I message her, she gets back to me like that. So again, knowing what your people want, knowing that not all of them are going to respond to a group or respond in the tracker app. But these people who loved, like they'll privately message you and tell you their whole life story. I have 2 of them now in a sneak peek. And I'm like, you people haven't participated in a challenge group, but you tell me how excited you are to learn more about coaching. And it doesn't quite line up. But I remind myself, when I first got started in this, I had never taken a selfie. I always like to tell my coaches that, because they're like, really, like, you take selfies all day. But I didn't. I'd never taken a selfie, and I didn't post my first week of a challenge group. So don't discount those people. Just try to find what it is that's going to click for them. Because once you find it, you can find those people might just step out of their shell and become rock star referrals, challengers, coaches, or whatever it may be. But they all invested with you in this challenge group. They bought their challenge packs. They made that decision. And as a coach, it's your role to figure out how you can get them results. And it might be different for everybody. But that's your role. That's kind of like the puzzle piece that you get to uncover with that. So those are my main things with from a challenger perspective. When you think of keeping things in square one, I think of, think back to the basics, sharing results, taking pictures, talking about it, and rocking your challenge groups, because that is what is going to give you your stability of your business and then enable you to grow into coaching. There were some questions. See if anything. Nothing. We're good. Okay. And this quote came from Grit. So if you were at Summit, you probably heard the book Grit mentioned on many occasions, but this was at the very end of it. And it was one of those, I was actually driving down the road, listening to it through my car, and I stopped and pulled over. I paused it, I rewound it, and I put this in a note on my phone because it just struck me. But success is never final. failure is never fatal, and it's courage that counts. Whether it's the coaching up that you're talking about or challenge group and sharing your before and after pictures, I feel like this is so true, because you can be successful in it and you can fail at it, but you've got to have that courage to just keep going at it. And I just love that quote, and I feel like this business takes a heck of a lot of grit, and I had to share that with you guys here. And flipping on a coach side, very similar to the same points that I talked about, staying in square one as a challenger, and remaining that, forever challenger yourself. So when you think of, staying in square one as a coach, you're updating and constantly updating your before and after pictures. I believe you have to constantly be updating your story. Where are you now with the business? What has it done for you now? How can you share now what it's done for you? And also staying excited. And I know that, we did those 5-day sneak peek groups forever. I used the same videos every time I did it. Just schedule it up, set it out. And I didn't recruit very many coaches. And I think it's because I wasn't excited about it. It was kind of like I got, maybe I was excited the first time and I got used to it and I stopped doing that kind of stuff. So stay excited and, changing things up. And again, stay rooted to what you love, but be willing to change it and try new things. Wanted to share a little bit on just sharing your story and continuously sharing it in different ways. One thing that I've done in the past that's worked, but for some reason I don't always put into practice every month, is talking about the coaching opportunity nonstop. Not in an annoying way, like join my sneak peek, join my sneak peek, join my sneak peek, join my sneak peek, join my team, my true coach training group is starting. Like, not in that way, but throwing out that I'm a coach somehow, way, shape, or form every day. And I know one time we did this as a team. We were as a group of diamonds, and we were like, okay, for 5 straight days, we're going to talk about coaching. It was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday, we're going to launch it. We're going to have a sneak peek. And we all did it. We all talked about somehow all the different angles of what it's done for us. Every day for 5 days, we're going to sneak peek, and it rocked, because you have to get it out there as many times as you possibly can, because not everyone's going to see it. But sometimes I feel like, how can I possibly talk about coaching a way that I haven't done already? Or how can I change this up? And I have been in like a slump of recruiting. Like, I feel like January was great, and every month since then has gone downhill for me. So I'm like, okay, like, what has worked before? Talk about it. Talk about it in so many different ways without shoving it down people's throat. And I'll give credit to Ashley Lachlan. If you guys were at the Northeast Regional Summer Conference that we did in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, she did an awesome presentation about, sharing about recruiting and sharing the coaching opportunity. And I was like, okay, like, I got to do more of this. Like, you have to talk about it in different ways. So these are just a couple examples that I want to share with you guys, because I feel like that hearing it talk about coaching, in different ways is great. Like, sure, I'll write that on my to-do list, but how do you do that? And, how are you able to put it out there in different ways? That's not always saying I'm a coach, but creating that curiosity that makes people be like, like, what is she talking about? And I want to know more. And that was really what I did last week. I ran my sneak peek on Wednesday or Thursday, one of those days. And leading up to this, it was on Thursday. And leading up to this, I talked about coaching and what it's done for me in different ways throughout the week. And this was my story I started it on Sunday. And this actually referenced back to the Northeast Regional Conference the week before, where I was asked, what does I Am Team Beachbody mean to you? And I just summed up the post. And I'll be honest, some of my posts get really lengthy. And as much as I try to make them shorter, it just doesn't always happen. But this was a post that I shared, find the why that makes you cry. And I'll be honest, whenever I first heard that as a coach, I was like, why that makes you cry? Like, I just want to have a little extra income and contribute to my family. Like, that doesn't make me cry. But I got to a point where I found that why that makes you cry. And when you get there, it makes a huge difference in the grit that you need to push through things, to continue working hard when things aren't working and people are telling you no. And I shared just a little piece of that. I talk about how I had a degree in accounting, and like things that a lot of people that I've said countless times before, I just said it again. And I said it a little bit different, with a little bit different image, but I talked about that here. And that was the Sunday post. And then on Monday, it was the first day of school. And I just this was a short one. This was when I was able to keep a little shorter. And then I just said this, to be the one that gets to stand with her in the morning and be the one that she runs to after school. This to me was something that was going to be very relatable. This was something that drove me to want to do this in the beginning that I don't always talk about. So I'm like, okay, what are the things that got me so excited about coaching when I first got started? Because that's what I need to keep sharing and talking about. And even if I think I've talked about these things over and over again, all those new people that you're adding every day, the new friendships you're creating, they don't know this stuff. So you have to keep that in mind, that you have to keep saying it. And that was one. And like some of these, like when I have these short ones, that's usually where my hashtags aren't necessarily like the hashtags that would be like great things for people to find you on Instagram. I include in here like work at home mom parks, like that one there. Like that's something to me, like that's a huge perk and highly relatable to somebody who would love to be the person that gets their children on and off the bus in the morning. So this was the one I did on Monday. So this one didn't have a call to action. It was like call to action that went on Sunday. This one I just simply shared, this is what I was doing. Transformation Tuesday post. So this is not your standard one like you saw up above where I talk about my fitness program before and after. But like I said, I'm constantly sharing my own story. And when I think of the breakdown of the month of sharing, talking about like recruiting for a challenge group, recruiting for the coaching opportunity, even when I'm recruiting for coaching opportunity, I still like to use a Transformation Tuesday that highlights my story, because I usually try to do like one Transformation Tuesday of myself that's recruiting for a challenge group, and then one of someone from my team or someone from a challenge group. Similar with the coaching opportunity in a month, I like to make one of them sharing my transformation and one of them being, someone else from my team. And this was just, to me, like this was one that was going to hit on a lot of people's objections. And I don't think the whole thing is even captured in this screenshot here, but I just talked about how, from the girl who used to be, and by the way, like, if you zoom in, this was totally my bachelorette party. Like, notice the sash, there's a whistle here, wine glass with, I think, beer in it. But this was taken from my bachelorette party. But I just talked about, like, from the girl who thought the elliptical, an hour on the elliptical, to a girl that works out in her basement, a girl who ate lean cuisines and cereal and canned soups for dinner, to a girl who learned how to fuel her body. And I just talked about those things because those are the things that I've gone through that are all huge reasons why I think being a coach is such a huge benefit and perk. And there's so many things that go beyond just, the financial side of what we do. And I talked about how I'm in the best shape of my life. And it all came from this business that I created. When I took that leap and said, why not me? And this one had a call to action in it. But I created the image based on like a Transformation Tuesday one. So that's kind of how I kept the theme in with the week. This one here also had a call to action to join the sneak peek, but this was from my Instagram story, so I like to repurpose as much as I possibly can. But I talked about how like I had a call with my first future coach in the UK, and then we had a mentorship call with corporate, and then we were planning our team retreat in Orlando. So it's talking about the fun stuff we get to do. Like, like we do a lot of stuff, we have our fitness and we drink our shake. We also get together as a team. There's also an in-person side of this. Some people, like for me, use myself as an example. I was a stay-at-home mom when this started. The idea of talking to other girls and other women and other moms during the day was so appealing to me. Like that was a huge draw in my challenge group, to be able to connect with other women. So I like, from my standpoint, like this was really big for me. And this was one of the reasons why I wanted to get started. So like, I need to talk about that more. What made me want to start this business, and talk about that and share that more. And that was the angle that I was going at with this post here. And then the last one before I actually like the sneak peek kicked off was I talked, here's a group team from the team retreat last year. And I just talked about how someone asked me at the post office, she's like, why are you here like multiple times every week sending packages all over? And I just shared a little bit with that. So different angles, different types of pictures, you can, like, I feel like I actually have to challenge myself to do it, to actually sit down, and I plan these out. Like I don't always sit down and do them like just like that. But I'll think about like what ways can I hit on coaching? What angles can I talk about it, because something, whether it's the financial side, the physical side, the team side that's going to attract to other people, I think of what made me want to say yes, and I try to share those. And I can tell you, like, this is the first time I went and consistently did it every single day. Like, I obviously, like, my focus the last 2 weeks of the month is always coaching. I want to recruit coaches. But I'm usually one who's like, okay, I'm doing a sneak peek tomorrow and I'm doing one tonight, and I don't always talk about it a lot more. And you know what? I don't get anybody to join them. Therefore, I don't get coaches to join. So I'm like, all right, what's going to make a difference? I've had more interest leading up to like last week's sneak peek, and more conversations, and people who are joining as challengers to see if this is what they want to do. Like, it sparks so much that I'm like, okay, well, I've got to keep this going. And if there was a post floating around, if you saw it, it was if I should have put it up here, but if I created a private group that shared what I do about coaching, would you join, yay or nay? And you can't chase every single post that you see, and you can't always be like, okay, she did this and that worked for her, I got to do it. And she did this and it worked for her and I got to do it. But this fit my marketing strategy for the month. When I saw that post floating around that a lot of people were doing, I'm like, well, this fits. And I'm kind of on a roll with coaching. And I feel like the more you start to talk about it, the easier it becomes, and the more comfortable you are sharing it and talking about it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to give this a whirl, because what's the worst? That flops? Like, okay, so try again next time. So I did that post, and I did it last night, and I was sitting with my husband in the living room. I'm like these people who are saying they're like a yay or nay. I'm like, these people who are saying yay are not people I would ever have asked or ever would have thought would have been interested. And I'm not saying that they're all going to sign up, because they're not. I mean, a lot of them are just plain old curious. But it has created so much more conversation. And that's something I've done from the beginning, is I listen to what people are doing and I watch. And, I'm not going to go copy their posts. But and that particular one wasn't like a tip, like, I feel like everyone was using that same thing. That wasn't like a sharing a story type of deal. But I watch, see what's working for people. And I'm like, okay, does that fit my strategy, my team, my goals, my approach on things? And how can I twist that and make that my own? And it's really been working well. And honestly, for that, I created a group, put a video in there, and I'm literally going to do a day in the life of my shoes, which is weird to think that like a former accountant is sharing a day in the life of her shoes and people actually want to know what that is. But I'm just going to do live videos throughout the day and show them what we do. I'm going to show them about our workouts, show them what a challenge group looks like, show them about our team calls and what the team page looks like, and talk to them about talking to other people and inviting people to join. And I'm going to just walk through what we do and answer their questions. But if I didn't last week get on that roll of being like, okay, I'm just going to talk about coaching. I'm going to talk about coaching. And, I'm doing all this. I'm at my SC goal for the month. It wasn't that I need, any sort of numbers to hit. And I think that helps take the pressure off. I'm like, I'm just going to keep talking about it. Just going to keep talking about coaching, because once it gets started, it's like the whole donuts thing that Carl talked about. Once you get those first few out of the way, it really becomes easier. And if you are one that uses, Time Hop on your phone, a lot of the posts that I use are because I follow the same strategy of like, first part of the month-ish is usually challenge groups, and the second half-ish is the coaching opportunity. A lot of my posts I repurpose. Pictures I repurpose. I mean, this picture's a year old here. Pictures I'll repurpose. The text I'll repurpose. And I'll just change it up, switch it up, and use it different ways. But the more you talk about it, the easier it becomes. And you'll find that then like the more you talk about it, the more interest you're going to have. And also just, as you're inviting and talking about the coaching opportunity, change up what you're inviting to. I shared just a little bit ago, when we did those 5-day sneak peeks into coaching, I feel like that was the first time we put it into like a virtual format. At least for me, it was. They were great. They were such a different way to share. And we would do 5 different coaches talking about it for the 5 days. And this is fun. At the end of the week, hopefully you get people to sign up. But then those got old, and that took too long. And then we did 3 days. And then we would do it in an hour. And then we would do, like I'm saying, a sneak peek in the day of my shoes. But it's changing up what you're inviting to. And again, you have to stay excited about it. Because if you're inviting to the same type of groups, every single month, it's going to get boring for you, and it's going to get boring for your followers, and people aren't going to be paying attention. If you can tweak those words, glance into coaching, sneak peek into coaching, live look into coaching, backstage pass into coaching, like all those different ways, different things they're going to spark interest from different people. And as you're going through that, like think about your following. I know for me, there's people who I run into, at the bus stop who know my entire life story, who have never commented on a single thing on my social media. But that used to be me. Before I started coaching, I didn't take pictures. I didn't post on Facebook. Like I didn't use it. Like I was one of those silent Facebook people who scrolled. Like I knew what was going on in other people's life, but Lordy, I did not like on their stuff. I did not comment because I don't want people to think I was running around scrolling Facebook. So realize that those people are going to respond differently. And when I do coaching, I do all sorts of different things. I didn't put on here, but blog post is another way to share a coaching opportunity. But creating events is one of, like, in my mind, the easiest ways. Throw a cover image up there. And when you create an event, you can kind of put your text in the description. And then anybody you invite to will see exactly what you're talking about. So you don't even have to send the private one. You can do a group event. And then you can do those, do the private invites too. Some people would never respond going to an event because they won't want anybody else to see that they're going. But if you invite them privately, they're like, oh, I was waiting for you to ask me, or I've been wanting to ask you, I didn't know how. And then posing a question, like I was like this last example where it's like, if I created this group, would you be interested? And you can apply that to other things. If I shared this one with my team yesterday, I was like, if I bundled together 7 days worth of Shakeology versus you buying a 30-day pack, would you be interested in trying it? Ways to gauge your interest, ways of inviting without your typical invites. To me, it can get old sending private invites over and over. It can get old running an event, for a free group, running an event for a challenge group, running an event for a coaching op. But I just do different things, different months. Sometimes I might create an event on my personal page. Sometimes it's on my business page. I just do different stuff because it's more fun for me. Sometimes that routine, monotonous activity over and over again makes it boring. And I'm like, you know what? I'm over this. Like, I can't do this one anymore. So the more it's like the variety is the spice of life. The more you can change things up and invite to different things, although the object at the end of the day is the same thing. Your goal is to get other people interested in what we're doing. Coaching up from a challenge group up, you want them to be curious, and you want them to get so curious that they start joining you. But you're only going to be able to do that if they can see that you are so excited about what you have to offer that they want to join you too. So a few call to actions. Keep a list of ideas that you want to implement, and then decide what you're going to do and write them down. I got this little calendar it's like a weekly thing from the Dollar Bin at Target. And I live by this thing because I've gone through and and right beside it is a typical regular calendar. Don't get me wrong. Like I use that too, but this is like my daily to-do list at a week's glance. And I use this and I think of things like when I saw that question posed, I think it was like it started circulating around like last Wednesday or Thursday, but I'm like, no, like I can't ask that question now. I'm in the middle of my sneak peek. I had my post planned for the week. Like I couldn't jump on that then because I'm like, no, it's not right for me right now. I was like, but I strategize it. I'm going to actually post that on Sunday. And then on Monday, which is tonight, I talked about hosting this call. I talked about booking my flight to London for the UK. I'm trying to create curiosity again. So I strategize those things. You can't just go jump on them, but if it's something that fits for you, figure out when you're going to do it. Same thing with challenge groups. You see, like maybe you've created your marketing plan for September and then somebody throws out this awesome ad and you're like, I should do that. And if it doesn't fit your schedule, or you've already posted and invited about this, then don't go reversing everything. Don't make it hard on yourself. Change things a different way. So just keep that in mind. I know that, like, to me, that's something I've always done from the beginning is just listen. I get on every single Monday night call, have from the beginning. I think of live calls I might have missed less than a handful, less than one hand of calls on Monday nights. Like I listen because everybody has such different perspectives and different ideas and different ways to spin things and create things and ask for things that I try to like soak it up, but you can't let it stop there. You have to take it in and then figure out how it's going to work for you too and when you're going to take action with it. And your other call to action, share your results tomorrow. when you get off this call, put a picture together. And I know some people are like, yeah, but I look awful now compared to what I did when I first finished 21 Day Fix and signed up as a coach. When I first finished Quarter Force, I look better then than I do now. You know what? I'm telling you, if you post that these were my, like, post almost like an opposite before and after, and say, like, I failed and I've gone backwards, and I'm willing to admit that, and I'm going to recommit, and I'm looking for those who are going to recommit with me, or I'm grateful for my coaching friends, or I'm grateful for my role as a coach that has allowed me to recognize that I've gone backwards, and it's going to help me stay going forward. Like, think about how you can take whatever situation you're in right now and share that, because you know what? Maybe you rocked Quarter Force last fall and got great results and signed up as a coach and it was awesome. And maybe your health and nutrition's gone a little bit downhill since then. You sharing that all over again now is going to be so much more relatable than rocking abs 6 months ago or whatever it was. So my timing's off, 9 months ago. You know what I mean? So think about that. But I want you guys to share your results, because you'll, like, and it might seem nerve-wracking, or maybe you're like, but I shared my results last Tuesday. Share them again. Whether it's 3-day refresh or one program, or like I did of 8 years ago at my bachelorette party to a current day picture. Sharing those things just helps people see you in a different light. And like, maybe you've been real fit for a while and people just think, oh, like, you're just that fit girl and it's just easy for you. Show them that it's not. Show them that it's still a struggle. Show something besides the weight. Like, I've done several where I've, like I said, like, I'm actually up from my initial starting point before I became a coach. I weigh more now than I did. I'm almost 10 pounds heavier than I did after I finished 21 Day Fix. So I share that. I share the numbers all the time, because so many people get caught up in those numbers and they think they're failing. So show them that it's not all about the numbers, or whatever it may be. Share your story and your results on Tuesday and see how more people will cheer you on and relate to you. And just think about your challenge groups. If they're good, how can they be great? If they suck, how can they be better than that? What can you do differently? And I'll share that little image that I made. You can just, like, add a little white thing over my logo, put your own, or take it off, whatever you want to do with it. But try something like that, or recreate it using different things that are maybe more pertinent to your group of people. But things like, spice things up. Like, I ran groups off of scripts for a long time, and I feel like, it worked for a little while. But I got bored, and I think a lot of my people got bored too, and they could sense that it wasn't this, like, super excited coach to get people started every day. It was like, here's your day one, Motivation Monday, Transformation Tuesday, What I Ate Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Fun Fitness Friday, whatever it is. Make it different. Change things up. And lastly, just set the date for your next sneak peek. And if it's 5 days from now until 5 days out, talk about the coaching opportunity. Not in a throw it down their throat, like, this is the best job ever, everybody should do this. But think of real ways that it can be relatable to people. And maybe you just got started, and maybe it's the $14 Emerald cycle that enabled you to just go treat yourself to a lunch. Or maybe it's the fact that you could drop a shift at work. Or maybe it's the fact that, your kids are working out with you, and you love that you've brought this whole environment to your family where they see this fitness lifestyle. Whatever it is, start talking about it in different ways. You can even just, before you ever get started, something we talk about in Coach Basics, just make the list of all the reasons that you love being a coach, what coaching has done for you. Those are the posts that make your sneak peek, that can leverage you into a sneak peek. So I know I really went on both ends of the coaching and the challengers, but that's what I got for you guys. I don't know where I know there were, like, a couple people who raised hands. I'll be honest, I never saw raised hands before, so I don't know if those were questions. If there are anyone who has any questions, you can post them. I'll stop the screen share. Nada. Anybody? There's 2 participants raised hand, but I don't know how to do that. Raised hand. Joanna, you raised your hand. I'm struggling here. Ashley, you are welcome. There's people who raised hands. Maybe it wasn't an actual question. Maybe they just bumped a button. Oh, Diane Michael, that's my mama. You're welcome. You raised your hand. Did you have a question? All right. Well, that's it. I talked fast. You guys are out a little early. It's only 9:45. But thank you all very much for getting on. I hope it was helpful. If you have any other questions or specifics on anything that I shared, I will by all means be happy to answer them, and I'll share that little image also with everyone. All right. Have a great night. You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye-bye.